Before we get into today's video, I just wanted to say thank you to all of the new subscribers. If you haven't yet, consider subscribing. Hit that bell notification so that you can see every time I put out a new video. A major portion of you that watch my videos haven't subscribed yet, so why not? It's free. You can also find a PayPal link below if you want to give a one-time or give a monthly to support the channel. Anything, great or small, is appreciated. Now let's get into the video. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Faith and Failure. There's nothing better than having a guest and they start uncontrollably laughing at my intro. But let's go ahead and get that on camera right now. So today I have with me a very special guest. She has, here recently, she has started doing a phenomenal job in our young adults, and she has stepped up in a big way. And she has shared with me and my wife, both privately and with other people publicly, her story as far as what she has gone through, the kind of the origin story of kind of what happened to you, what went on, and then how God has brought you through. So, first of all, thank you for coming on the podcast.
You're welcome.
So, without giving really anything away, if you don't mind, you can tell people your name, where you're from, kind of where you grew up, kind of give the backstory of your backstory, if that makes sense.
Okay, so my name is Abby. I grew up here in Longview, like all my life. I was born here, never moved or anything. Homeschooled all my life, so from kindergarten through graduation, and just grew up in a family of 4 with my mom, my dad, and then my brother, and then me. And been to church all my life. I mean, it's a very basic precursor to the actual main gist of my life, I guess.
Now, when you grew up, you said you grew up in church your whole life. Does that mean that you, like your mom and dad, your grandparents, everybody went to the same church? What did it look like?
Okay. So my mom came from like a Pentecostal family, and then my dad came from a Baptist family.
Explain what Pentecostal is for those that don't know.
Silly. No. Charismatic. That's how I know it, as charismatic.
Charismatic's a good explanation.
Yeah. I definitely was more on the Baptist side.
Right.
So by the time that I was born, my whole family, so me, my mom, dad, and then my brother were going to a Baptist church.
Now you said you've made the distinction between the two. So as a person who was in a house divided by the two, when someone hears that, what does that mean to you? What did that look like for you as far as you say, my mom was Pentecostal, my dad was Baptist? What's the difference in those two categories?
Oh, okay.
Basic stuff. You don't have to go too deep. I guess. Well, the theological discussion on.
I don't have a theological definition. My definition was like, Pentecostal was always like legalistic to me, like super long hair, don't cut it, skirts. If I went
for the women, not the men.
For the women, yes, no, definitely not the men. But like, if I would visit like a Pentecostal church with my mom, because her side of the family is still Pentecostal, like it's like wear the jean, long skirt, have your hair, down, don't do makeup. Like my grandma on my mom's side doesn't like makeup. No piercings, no tattoos, stuff like that. And then when it came to like the Baptist side, it was just a little less legalistic. Women can wear pants. They don't have to wear skirts all the time. But my grandparents on my dad's side, which is where like the Baptist stuff came from, were still kind of, I guess, professional. I don't know, like you need to dress nice for church, wear your Sunday best. Still not big on the tattoos. Not so much like the ear piercings, but don't have a ton. Just stuff like that. The Pentecostal side was more legalistic, and the Baptist side was, the Pentecostals get up and run through the aisles, and the Baptists don't do anything, but they sit there and they listen for an hour and a half, and then they go home. Yeah. So.
Okay. So what was that like living in a house that was kind of divided in that way?
Interesting. My mom definitely fell more on the Baptist side by the time like I was old enough to really recognize it. Yeah. But it was just weird.
So on the Baptist and Pentecostal side, like what was it? Was your mom just kind of like giving in to like, okay, well, I'm not going to divide the house. I'm going to unify the house by coming to church, or did her beliefs change? Did they kind of, or were you old enough to even know the difference? That may be a question for her. You may not know, but
yeah, I mean, I can't say exactly what she felt about it. I don't know, but I think it was like my family. We all grew up in church, but like how do I explain this? We went to church. We did the Baptist thing of, you go to church, you sit there, you're quiet, you come home and stuff. And then I would go to like Awana, if you know what Awana is.
I've heard of it,
like
yeah.
Wednesday, and do all the churchy things. But we weren't like super actually Christian. I guess it sounds a little extreme.
You were churchgoers,
yes,
but you weren't like Christ followers.
Yeah,
maybe?
I feel like that's a better way to put it. And so with like my mom coming from the Pentecostal side, I feel like her just kind of going more Baptist with it was a way to just go along with my dad, I feel like. And then, of course, like I said, it's like we would go to church and we would do all the thing, but we weren't really Christ followers while we did it. We looked like it from the outside. Like I memorized all the scripture like most people. Yeah. But when you get home, it's like, okay,
back to
what did we even talk about in the sermon? Oh, I don't know. I wasn't paying attention. I was thinking about what I was going to have for lunch. Like
I went to church. What more do you want?
Yeah, like I sat there and I heard them talk. And I fell asleep a little bit, and then I came home. Like, I was there. I was
What
present.
did they talk about? Jesus?
Jesus was mentioned that one time. Like, what am I supposed to know about him? He was there. That's all I know.
So when was it that, now, your entire childhood, from, did you stay, you said growing up when you finally got to the age to where you actually knew what was going on, you were going to a Baptist church, and just for clarity, we're not knocking Baptist people. This is just her story and her explanation of what's going on. So
just like cracking jokes, but no dogging anybody.
Don't be offended.
No.
Don't be a bunch of Karens. All right. So sorry. Now, when was it that, did you continue your entire life in church, or when was it that you stopped going to church?
So,
or was it a personal thing, or was it a family thing to stop going?
Okay. So as far as I can remember from, when I was old enough to recognize that we were going to church, we just always went. There were times where we paused, where we kind of, church surfed, I guess, looking for different ones. We always kind of ended up at the same Baptist church, though. And so we just went throughout my life with those little pauses, but we never really like stopped going. Like there was never a time where we're like, oh, we didn't go for like 3 years and then we started going again. It was just kind of on and off of like, we know we should go to church even if we don't want to. I'm going to drag my feet and grumble all the way there. Yeah. But then when I get there, I'm going to be like, oh, hi, I couldn't wait to be here today and everything's great and sunshine.
Church face, you got the church attitude.
And thanks for saying you like my dress. I really didn't want to put it on, but I'm kidding. Slip of the mouth. I love being here.
God, that's so amazing.
That's just how it went.
Yeah.
So
what was your, okay, so we're going to we got a little bit of backstory. You were in church, but not churched.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What was you did not tell me what we can talk about and what we can't talk about. Do you realize that? I do realize this. Okay. So you go where you want to go, and then I'll ask questions after you open that door.
Great.
Does that make sense?
Yes, that's fine.
So timeline-wise, where do you want to start, and what do you want to talk about?
Oh, Lord. I feel like anything I say is just going to be like jumping like straight off the like deep end.
That's okay. I mean, we got a little foundation.
Yeah. Okay. So we got that. We went to church all the time out of the way. We were going to church. We knew about Jesus, but we didn't know Jesus. Mm-hmm. So my dad was very back and forth about the Lord. And of course, we know from the Bible, the man, the husband, the dad's supposed to be the head of the household. Yeah. What happens when the head of your household is flip-flopping around like a fish out of water? lots of things happen.
Yeah.
So we're going to church. And while we're going to church and everything looks fine and we drag our feet and we get there, we're putting on this face like, hey, everybody, everything's great. My family was kind of involved in ministry, not my mom, but I helped in children's church with my brother because my grandparents on my dad's side did children's church.
And your brother's older than you, right?
Yes.
By how much?
He was born in 2000. I was born in 2003. So 3 years.
Easy math. Easy math.
It'll take a minute. We all struggle with something. I struggle with math. Okay, like
that's fair. That's fair.
So we were all involved. My dad, he's taught a couple sermons. For a small time, he ran his own church. And that was
your dad did?
Yes.
Really, I did not know that.
Yeah, he did. I don't remember it much. I was really young, but he did for a while. He ran a church out of a pizza place. Honestly, they let us use their party room, and so he had a church, and we had the projector and guitar, and we had song service, and he would do sermons.
Was he was it a extension of the Baptist belief, or just did his own thing?
I think it was his own thing. I guess if you would describe it as anything, from what I remember, it was probably non-denominational, leaning Baptist. It wasn't really a branch of anything. He was just we're having a church here, and people came, and then it lasted. I don't know how long it lasted, but
how old were you when he started doing that? Do you remember?
I don't. I'm tempted to say 4 or 5. I was really
so you were super young.
So this was a long time ago.
So you wouldn't remember what made him decide to do something like that?
He would get on kicks of things.
Okay.
So you get on a church kick. Well, I'm all about church.
Yeah.
My whole life's dedicated to Christ. Oh, but
I'm on that kick right now.
What is your kick?
Church kick.
Well,
I really like
your church kick. Should be your lifelong kick.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen next, but I love where I'm at right now.
That's awesome. I'm so happy.
That's
for
good
you,
because I'm the pastor, right?
It should be your whole thing. That should be your brand.
We'll see what happens.
On a kick right now.
We'll see what happens. I don't know yet.
It stays a long time.
I can't control what the Lord wants.
Never say never to anything.
That's right.
I've learned that. But he was on that. But it's people will get on health kicks.
Yeah.
Well, he had a health kick. I mean, he had a kick for everything.
He just kicked.
He just kicked all the time. So I mean, he'd be in church for a super long time, super energetic, excited about it. But then he'd be into, he'd switch to something like video games. Well, he wants all the newest video games, newest tech, health. He wants to be healthy. He's dieting super hard. He's going to be the fittest guy in the room. And then he moves on to, well, that's stupid. I don't like that anymore. I mean, he would just jump around. So I feel the church was kind of just another phase, I guess is a better way to put it for him.
Yeah.
That he did that. But we're going to church. By the time I was early teens, it was early teens. We're all going to church. We're doing the thing. He's helping with youth ministry at this time because we're back in the Baptist church. And we're doing the thing. Everyone knows us as the family that's there and doing all the churchy stuff. And behind it all, there's abuse.
Yeah.
The whole time. From my early time's fuzzy, but from early teen years up until I was 19. So half of my life pretty much was that.
So when you say early teen, so this was not to be graphic or poke too much, but it was after you developed.
Yes.
It wasn't a small kid thing. It was developing body.
It was definitely after that. Lots of advantage taken in that way.
Obviously, this guy's your dad. I have a little girl. I can't even wrap my head around even thinking in that direction. It makes me want to cry just thinking about it. But someone that you trusted, that you loved, and if you want to say move on, that's fine. But what? How did that even? How do you start something like that? What was the foundation that he laid to make it seem because you didn't tell anybody immediately, right?
No, not until I was 19. So for years, this was
the
quiet.
entire time.
Yes, the entire time.
What was it that he said that I can't say for his mind, in your mind, that something he said made you think this is normal or this is okay? What what did that look like in your head? Or did you just not think anything? You just thought it was like,
Yeah.
what was going through your mind when it all started happening?
Yeah. So when it first started, there's definitely just a lot of confusion because, of course, this is your dad. I mean, it's the person who's supposed to protect you. You trust you. You know, I've got something on my heart. You know, tell me. You know, that kind of thing. And again, we've been in church, so I know that what's happening is wrong. Like in my mind, like I know, like from the Bible, Jesus says this is wrong. And so there's a lot of confusion because it's like, this is coming from someone who's supposed to lead and tell me what's going on and what to do. But it was a very gradual process.
Because it came from that source, somebody that you loved and trusted, and that in your mind would never do something to hurt you or wrong towards you. Is that why you think your mind kind of twisted it up to be okay?
Yes, I definitely feel that way because it's also like, what do you do? Like at that age, it's not
like he's the person you're supposed to go to if someone ever does anything like that.
Yes.
That he's the one doing it.
Yes. And so, and you can't, you know, again, brought up Baptist and stuff, not to harp on that, but you're taught respect your parents, don't talk back, all of this stuff. And so it's like, what do you do? Like, what do you say? How do you talk to people? And my family was just very disconnected for a long time when I was a kid. From each other.
Okay.
So, like, my parents worked full-time, both of them. I was homeschooled by my grandparents. And most of the time, me and my brother were alone. Like, we didn't really have friends, you know, because we're homeschooled. We can't barely make friends. The friends we make at church.
Your brothers.
Yeah,
teachers are your family.
Lucky. I'm kidding. I'm so thankful to be homeschooled like I was, okay? I'm not, as a joke. But, you know, this was happening with him, and I didn't know how to talk to my mom. Like, I didn't know who to go to about this. And from him, it was like, it's okay. You know, you get those little, like, it's fine, don't worry about it, which it's as gross as it sounds. But it's just, especially as a kid, it's hard to wrap your mind around, like, well, the Bible says it's wrong. Well, my dad, who's been a pastor for that little short time and works in ministry, says it's wrong. But then we're doing it behind closed doors. It's just so hard to fight through that confusion, especially when he's like, don't tell anybody, you know, it's
so when he first started doing this to you, what was it that he was telling you was okay? Like you said, it was a gradual thing. Like, what does that mean? Like, what was the, you don't have to, but I'm saying, like, for the reason I'm even like trying to pull this out of you is because there could be somebody right now that's the same thing happening to them and they don't realize, just like you thought it was okay.
Yeah.
So what was the, I'm trying not to cry thinking about it, so it disturbed me so much. Like how did he frame it up, or what did he do to slowly, gradually move into further things?
Yeah.
To make you think that it was okay?
So there's a lot of manipulation, and he was very, very self-centered. So, like, looking back now, you know, we have big words like, oh, he was narcissistic.
Yeah.
But back then, you're a kid. You don't know what a narcissist is. You just know that it's your dad. And your dad's telling you, well, nobody loves me. People hate me. You just hate
about you or him?
He's saying that. He's saying that people hate him. So he's talking about himself.
So he's trying to get sympathy from you.
So he's guilting. Yes, it's a bunch of guilt. It's a bunch of sympathy farming, I guess you could call it. Like,
so before he actually did physical anything, he was doing a mental thing.
Yes. So, I mean, and
I guess they would call that grooming.
Yeah,
right?
It was grooming.
Yeah.
Or,
which you didn't know that phrase either?
No, of course not.
No.
You don't have that. You don't know what grooming is. Like,
no, when I heard the word grooming and it was like that, I'm like, no, grooming is like when you're an adult man and you groom up a young man of how he's supposed to be a man. Like, I never heard of it being perverted like that.
I see. Okay.
And someone said grooming, I'm like, that's not what that is.
Yeah, I bet that would make, I would be confused too.
Yeah, because that's what I thought it was. And then dogs, you groom dogs.
Well, yeah.
But not in that way. But like, because I'd never been around that type of perversion before. When I started, like, of course, you go in full-time ministry, you kind of hear everything.
Yeah, you get a taste of all the things.
And it's just, it blew my mind because it was something, again, that the enemy has perverted.
Yes.
That should be a good thing.
Yes.
But ended up being
It's
You're
so
preparing
twisted
it for something else. Yeah.
Yes. So it was a lot of trying to gain sympathy. And so he would talk very low about himself.
So how long did he do that before he actually, like, was there a while of that before actual contact physically?
So he had always been that way with all of the family. Okay. So, I mean, around my brother and around my mom, now I can't speak for them. I don't know how much it was around them, but I mean, it was just, he had a lot of self-loathing, and it came out in, well, everybody hates me. Well, they're mad at me. Why are you mad at me? Why aren't you talking to me? Oh, I'm just the worst person imaginable in the world. And he did that for everybody. And then when it came to just how things went between him and I, it's hard to say for sure how long that took or how long that lasted, since it's been my whole life. I mean, it's been a long time, but by the time it got to where it was physical, I guess, I mean, it ramped up. It got more intense, I guess, as a way to make things quiet, of like, so he would say things like, your mom doesn't love me. Well, your mom doesn't want to be
intimate.
Yeah. I mean, just all of these things of trying to get.
So as it progressed and went along and got too physical, he also kept progressing the mental side of it.
Yes, most definitely. Like, again, timeline's really hard for me. Time is fuzzy, and that's just what comes with it. But, I mean, it got to the point of like, man, if you ever told anyone that this happened, I would end my life. Like, I would just take my own life. I don't know what I'd do.
You can't say anything.
Yeah, because it's like you still care for your dad, which is weird. It's a weird mix of everything. I mean, it's just an odd place to be mentally and emotionally, but it's like this person who you care for, who you think truly cares for you, is saying like, man, if you ever told anyone that I did this, like, I would take my life. I don't know what I'd do. Everyone would hate me. I wouldn't have anybody in my corner anymore. Nobody would love me. I would be all alone if I wasn't dead. I mean, like, it just got more and more intense. And then
to keep your silence.
Yes, so that I wouldn't tell anyone, because obviously he knows this is very wrong and very disgusting, and he would go to prison. Like,
now, do you think on maybe the mental side of things, do you think him doing this was a form of him, like maybe the things he said actually was how he felt about himself, but because he had this with you, it made him feel like he had something special? Like a twisted, perverted intimacy with somebody that should not have been.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It validated who he was because somebody accepted him.
Oh, definitely. I think a lot of like the like trying to get sympathy and stuff, I do think he had like a real self-loathing. He lacked self-control. So he was a big guy, okay? He was overweight, and he had no control when it came to eating. So he ate himself into diabetes.
Really?
Basically. So he has no self-control. You're brought up in church, you're brought up, what are fruits of the spirit? Self-discipline, self-control, all this stuff. You can never meet that mark. He just had a lot of problems going on. So I think there was true self-loathing. And then I think when this happened, now you're a person with a lot of self-loathing. But now there's someone who loves you, who compliments you. You say, well, I'm a terrible person. And they say, oh, no, you're not. You're the best person in the world. Now, of course, it's obviously a messed up situation when it's you and your daughter.
Yeah.
But you're looking at it from that place of like, if you're full of self-hatred and now you have someone or something that's giving you that validation that you don't have, you're going to want to cling to it just naturally as a human being. Like, that's just something that's going to come to anybody. Not in that way, but
yeah, it seems like because you talk about self-control, which is one of the fruit of the spirit, but it's very important in life.
Yes.
And it seems, at least social pattern wise or mentally, like when people don't have self-control, they try to control the external.
Yes.
And I think that's what it sounds like, is that he couldn't control himself, what he did. So he pinpointed and used someone else to bring that control back into his life.
Yeah.
Which sucks that it was you.
Yeah. But I agree, because as things got more intense, I mean, it was like I would have friends and I would have a friend over, or I would go hang out with a friend. And he would just be mad, moody, wouldn't talk to me, or if he did, he was rude. Like, when it was, if I was giving him all the attention, it was very much like love bombing.
Mm-hmm.
If you know what that is, I mean, just like,
Go ahead and explain it for.
well, love bombing, and to me, I guess I don't have any like specific scientific terms, but love bombing's like constant attention. So it's like, what do you want? I'll get you anything. You want to go out today? I'll buy you this. What do you want? I'll buy you that. Like, just giving me anything I'd want. Like
Buying your silence, buying your affection,
yes,
buying your attention,
buying everything. So not only do you have that threat of like, man, if you told anyone, I would end myself. But then on the flip side, I'll get you anything. What do you want? I just love you. I just want to give you gifts. I just want to, you deserve everything nice in the world. Like, I just want to show you, which is a whiplash for your emotions because you're going on one side or the other. But then there's that control of like, if I would give someone else attention, well, now where's that gone? Now I'm deprived of the attention that I'm used to. And so when that happens, at least in my case, now I want to like, quote unquote, make it right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Well, I'm here now. What do you want to do? Like, I want to give you attention now. Like, it forms a really weird and messed up back and forth.
Yeah.
Because now you've got a leech, but in my case, it felt like I was a leech too, made into one of like, you're taking away my attention. Well, I want it back. What should I do to fix it?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm taking away your attention. Well, now it's just weird. It's just a weird push and pull.
So you said you would go with friends. He would kind of shame you, push you away, pretty much punish you.
Yes.
For not being with him.
Yes.
So obviously, like teenagers do, the older you get, the more friends you try to have and what things you try to go and do. You try to get out and be your own person. How did that affect that part of your life besides what you just mentioned? Did it make you not want to have friends? Did it make you, because I mean, at some point you're a young lady, you want to date, you want to, start relationships that are beyond just friends.
Yes.
Like, what did that look like with all of this mixed in?
So, So obviously I'm going into these friendships and like becoming an older teenager and going into friendship knowing that I have something that I can't tell anybody.
Yeah.
So that makes it hard. But I would go into them and it would just, I had some very odd friendships because of this, because I didn't know what like a real relationship looked like. Like, I feel like parents kind of model that for you.
Like, when you say odd relationships, what do you mean? Like, explain.
So friendships that just, I had a very blurred line of what was platonic and what was not. So I didn't understand, like, obviously when you have a friend, you're going to have boundaries. Like, there's things that you do with a friend and there's things that you do with not a friend.
Yeah.
I didn't know where those were. Like, there were no lines in my life.
Because they were all blurred. They were
all blurred. There were none at all.
Yeah.
And so I didn't know what was normal. And that just made having friends a very anxious experience because you don't ever know. Like, I dealt with anxiety bad. Social anxiety, making friends was hard. And it wasn't just that, but like my dad during this time ramped up in a different way, kind of being like if you leave the house or if you go on your own or you're going out somewhere, well, friends don't do anything for you. Everyone secretly hates you behind your back.
He's telling you this.
He's telling me this. Yes, he's feeding me this of like, when you become an adult and you leave the house and you make friends, everything sucks. Your job will suck. You'll hate your life. You won't have any real friends. You can't trust anybody. Everyone will stab you in the back. You can't tell anyone your secrets or anything that you're struggling with because they're just going to laugh at you and make fun of you and no one's going to like you.
And you think that was because, first of all, he wanted you all to himself?
Yes.
And second, if you shared any secrets, it may lead to his?
Yes. And I also think it was a reflection of what he felt.
Yeah.
Because he's carrying around arguably an even bigger secret in a way, because if I tell someone, I'm going to get help. If he tells someone, he's going to go to prison.
Yeah.
Like, there's a difference in the weight here, even though both, one is obviously more devastating than the other, I guess you could say. So making friends was a really tough. And then when it came to like being a young woman and wanting a boyfriend or a relationship that was romantic, I mean, I felt like it was off the table. I didn't want to be around a man at all.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, because this is my only picture of a man, really.
Yeah.
Is, a dad you would think is supposed to model like the type of man that he might, I don't know, that's coming out weird, but it's supposed to model what a good man is supposed to be.
Yeah.
Godly,
good characteristics. You understand
yes,
actually what a man's supposed to be. Yeah.
So then in my case, I have a dad who's modeling a self-loathing, lack of self-control pervert. So how am I going to go out and find a man who's not that? Like, I don't know
how would you know what to look for?
Yeah, I don't know what I'm looking for, and I'm anxious. I can't even talk to people regularly. How am I even going to talk to a guy?
Yeah.
I don't want to talk to a guy. What's he going to do? Like, I don't want to end up in the same situation.
Yeah.
With anybody. I don't, it was very weird because there was this hope of like, I want to go out and I want to go out and have a normal life.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I didn't want to go anywhere. I was very much a hermit.
You were designed to, you were conditioned to be that
I was
way.
conditioned to be a hermit and not go anywhere and not have any friends. So it was pretty tough. And at the same time, when you're that deep into it, because by the time I got up to be an older teenager, I'd kind of convinced myself that everything was fine. Like, I knew that there was a problem with me at that point, because obviously when you go through that kind of stuff, you've got trauma and you've got all of these things that come up, but I didn't even...
Did you always think it was you? Or did you think it was something was wrong with him too?
Thinking that it was only me came with time. So, like, I'll give you an example. So by the time I was like 18 or 19, I'll give that as like a rough estimate, I was fully convinced that there was something was wrong with me, but I didn't know what it was, even though the issue was glaringly obvious. Like, I thought I had like mental health problems or I had a mental illness.
Nothing to do with what he was
Nothing to do with him.
It was all you.
It was all me. But
wow.
Previous to this, like a couple years before, I'd actually had an interaction with him. That was, I want to say it's interesting, but it's really just bad. But I came to him and I had, unrestricted internet access. I had a phone. So I'm Googling like, about my situation as if I didn't know. But I'm like, can people go to jail for this? Like, what is wrong? What do you call this? Like, why is this happening to me? And of course, I'm going to get the result. If someone is doing this to you, they're going to go to prison. This is an illegal thing. You're a victim. Like, you need help. And I went to him and I was like, hey, you know that this is wrong, right? Like, beyond the Bible or anything like that, by legally, this is wrong. Yeah. And he was like, I know. And nothing changed.
And that was the end of that conversation?
And that was the end of like, you could go to prison. Oh, I know. That was it. And things just kept going the same way. And it led to me convincing myself that I had something wrong with me that had nothing to do with what happened between me and him or what was happening and all of that stuff. It's like where I'm standing now, I'm like, wow, it's so weird that your brain can convince you that nothing that happened was wrong.
The way you think is a very powerful thing.
Yes.
So now you said a little bit about romantic relationships. Now you showed me that photo. When was that? You know the one I'm talking about?
Wait, which one was it?
Before you came back to God. Was that, how old are you now? 21, 22?
I'm 21.
21? I think you had purple hair.
Oh, Lord.
I don't know if she'll give it to me or I can put it up on the screen for everybody to see, but she may be embarrassed. But, so when was it that you started being interested in girls?
So
was it kind of a slow transition to where you're like, I don't want anything to do with men, so girls is my option? Yeah,
I feel like that happened. It's hard to say, but yeah, I feel like it came about when I was kind of like, I'm not interested and guys. Like, I don't know what to expect from them, and stuff. And then, of course, and that, it's just, this situation brings so much confusion.
Yeah.
And then on top of confusion, you don't trust or know how to trust men, and you don't know. It's not like I thought all men were the same, but it was literally like, I don't know how to find a good man.
Yeah.
And so then it's like, well, what is the alternative? Women, girls. And it's also like, now I have an aversion to men. And standing here now, I can look at that and be like, well, there's an obvious reason why. Yeah. But at the time, I was
not so obvious.
I was half or even fully convinced that what had happened didn't have any bearings on why I was a problem. So when you go online and you look up why am I attracted to girls, what are you going to find? Well, you must be gay, or you must be
born that way.
Bi, you're born that way. That's a natural thing that you're feeling. Don't feel shame about it. And then, of course, you're on the internet, and in this day and age, you have 5 million resources for how you can find out if you're really gay. You know, there's quizzes you can take. There's things you can look at.
Into the direction
it's all just pulling you forward. So when you look up, why am I interested in girls? You're not going to get, well, have you experienced this, and this? You're going to get, welcome to the Pride Parade. Like, let's all celebrate. You're gay.
Which is crazy, because I have heard time and time again of people who ended up, that they're now in the homosexual lifestyle, or they used to be and God set them free, that it was a big part of some sort of trauma in their background, and they were running from what they experienced, and they ended up running to a alternative lifestyle.
Yes, this happens a lot. And now I do believe that, like, some people, even without that trauma, may have that inclination. Like, I don't want to, like, discount that there could be some people who just face that without that having, like, a big traumatic event in their life. Like, that's
like
something happens.
Some guys, or women too, some have the struggle of pornography and some don't.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not a thing at all.
Yes. And so I don't want to discount that, but for the most part, from what I have seen too, it often stems from some sort of trauma or big significant event.
Sometimes a collective group thinking. Like, that's who accepts them. Because unless you're a Christian, the Pride people are very accepting of, oh, come on.
Yes.
I am not saying the church should be gay. Let's just say that right now. But if the church would do what, like, Jehovah's Witness do, and knock on the doors and actually care that people exist, and if the church would be inviting, not necessarily affirming or accepting, but inviting, like the gay community
lack of judgment, because it's so crazy.
Because we've all been there.
Yes.
But like you said earlier, the Pentecostal people, which were charismatic Pentecostal, she is now. She came back over to the light.
I did.
Just kidding. But like the Pentecostal people, the movement has not grown like it should have, because everybody is so caught up on what you should be wearing or how you should talk or what you should and should not be doing.
Yes.
And it's exactly what Jesus said when he came. He said, I didn't come to abolish the law, but I came to fulfill the law.
Yes.
And through Christ, we can then actually live out the law according, but from the depths of our salvation, not on the outside, and then we are saved.
Yes.
Pentecostal people like talk a lot of trash about Catholic people, but they act the same way, just in a different way. It's the same chapter, just a different paragraph.
Yes.
It really is. And okay, so back to your story. Now that I get off that soapbox of how the Pentecostal people need to lock it up.
Come on, guys.
Be gay. I'm just kidding. Don't clip that.
Freudian slip. What are you thinking about over there?
Just kidding. Just kidding. Don't clip this and put it out there. So,
can you imagine?
Pentecostal people, be gay.
What? Gay.
What? Well, you heard it, folks. So now, when you started even going in that direction of the same sex, how was it in your late teens? Was it in your early adulthood? Like, what was that?
Yeah. So I feel like it started a little earlier in my teenager years, because
when everybody is wanting to
when everything was going on. I was in a lot of like online communities that I shouldn't have been on at that age, but unrestricted internet access. And that was kind of just all the rage then, especially on what I was on.
Was it unrestricted because your parents were working full time, and nobody was really guarding what you were doing?
Yeah, and
How come your grandparents they didn't seem to be so involved in any of this? Like nobody. What I'm asking is and maybe because I watch people, I pick up on things. Like somebody's in a bad attitude. Yeah, you can kind of pick up on it. Yeah, nobody thought or picked up on anything of nothing this whole time, or maybe it's one of those things where in active shooter training, they say that your brain will tell you in another room or back in the school somewhere, you hear a gunshot and your brain immediately goes, that wasn't a gun. Like you'll explain it away. After all this came out, did anybody say that were close to you be like, oh, and they maybe I should have saw that?
I feel like
there's nobody said anything.
Nobody said anything, but I feel like it was just shock. Like my dad, for all of his self-loathing, was very charismatic.
Really?
Yes. Like he had a lot of weird charm. He could make friends with anybody, but he's also the person who would walk away from a conversation he had with you and go, man, I hate that person. Like he could walk up to someone and have a conversation about like a car, let's say, and they will talk for an hour and just get on so fine and just be best friends by the end of it. But he'll walk away and be like, man, I hated that. I hate that I just said that person's so stupid. Really? But he had it together. And so to a lot of people, he looked like a stand-up guy, or if not a stand-up guy, then he looked like a normal guy. And so I feel like with my family, like with my grandparents, he was very respectful. He tried to do things for them.
So he was good at pretending.
So he was great at pretending. Yeah. But then it's like at home, it was gone.
So there wasn't like, okay, movies exaggerate things. We know that.
Yeah.
But you know how they'll have like people that are evil or they're perverts and like there's something about them, or you can see somebody at Walmart and you'd be like, well, that dude's a pervert. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Kind of that, but he didn't act that way. He didn't have any weird, quirky things. It was like somebody's like, something's going on.
No, like everyone.
He blended very well.
Mm-hmm. Like when everything came out, everyone was like, wow, I can't believe that. That's crazy. Are you sure? Like it was like a lot of
like
shock.
You were the liar.
Yeah, basically. And now I was lucky. No one straight out looked at me and was like, oh my gosh, you're lying. Like no one did that.
They just had questions because it didn't fit the pattern.
Yes. And like a lot of times people who, share something that big will face that backlash of like, well, you're lying. I can't believe you would make that up about them and da-da-da-da. By the grace of God, I didn't face that. No, I did face questions, which again makes sense. It's like, this isn't fitting the pattern. Like, what are you talking about? I don't understand. Yeah. My grandparents especially were very shocked, which is, that's understandable. You think your son is a stand-up guy and you literally homeschool his children, like you're involved in their life.
The grandparents are his parents or hers?
Yes.
Your mom's?
His parents.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
So they're on his side. These are the Baptists on his side. Grandparents. It's not me saying anything about Baptists.
These are the Baptists.
I just don't know how to categorize my grandparents by like, these are the Baptist ones and these are the Pentecostals.
Okay. For some reason in my head, I was thinking they were your mom's parents.
No.
Oh, so they're your dad's
They were my dad's parents.
Oh, and if I'm being honest, if it was my kid, I don't think I want to believe it either.
Yeah,
I want to believe it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
No, they have been great. Like to me, like they're going through a lot. Like I can't imagine. Like even though I was on the receiving end, I can't imagine hearing that and being like, "What?" Yeah. Like my kid, like as my stand-up kid, like who's been here, supporting me and doing things for me. I raised him,
fed him, I changed his diapers.
I taught him all he knows. Yeah. Like I can't imagine.
I didn't teach him that.
No, definitely not.
You know what I mean?
But yeah, so it was a lot, and it's also, I feel like a double punch because you find out that this heinous thing has happened, but then we all find out that he's lied. Like he's a big lie. Well, obviously he's a liar, but about everything, like to everybody. There were tons of things that he lied about. Like there were things he told us about his childhood that my grandparents came back and said that never happened.
And none of this ever came out until after.
So none of it came out until after.
Nobody had a reason to question anything.
No. So it's like he would say like, oh, this is, I don't know if this actually happened. This is just an example.
Yeah.
But he could come to you and be like, oh man, when I was a kid, my dad kicked me in the shin this one time because I made him mad. And then it's like, after everything came out, I was like, well, he said this about his childhood. And then it's like, my grandpa being like, no, I didn't. I would never do that. I've never done that before. And so, I mean, not only are you finding out that he did this thing, but now it's like,
everything.
Where are the lies ending? Like, they don't. So
that is so crazy.
Yeah. Like he was doing this. He was lying. Irresponsible with everything, money. I mean, like I said, like getting on kicks of buying the latest and greatest games or things. I mean, it just never ended. So it's like your whole life is blown up. Like everyone in my family's lives kind of just exploded in different ways. But it's all like, oh my gosh, how are we going to pick up these pieces? So it was a lot. And it all happened in one day.
Wow. So you're, I guess, earlier in your stages of, so when did you stop? Obviously now you're not interested in girls.
No.
Like you've came back to the Lord, like your life is completely different from what it used to be. When did coming to our church wasn't the first time you started coming back to church, was it? For a while?
No.
Okay.
No, I was going to a different church for, I want to say a couple months.
Okay. But before that, you hadn't been in church in a while?
But before that, so we were going to church up until everything came out.
Yeah.
And then
as a family?
Let me think. It was me and my dad. We were going to church. And then my mom was working out of state. So she had a job that required her to be in Shreveport.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, the majority of the time. So me and my dad were going to church, and then everything came out. And then what did I do?
So, hold on, while we're talking about that, so what led up to the time of when it came out? Like, what happened? Did you come out with it, or somebody found out? Like, how did that even happen?
Right. Okay, so, gotta prepare myself. I'm kidding. So what happened was, before everything came out, there was like a pause in the abuse. It was kind of like, as I was getting older, it became less constant. It was kind of on and off. So sometimes it was happening and then it would take a break, come back. And it was on a bit of a pause. And then it happened again in a way I hadn't expected. And it really shook me. Like, I guess I don't know what flipped in my brain. I want to say it was Jesus, I guess, but it really, it messed me up, I guess you could say, in a way that it hadn't before. Like, I was like, I was shook. I mean, I was really frightened and I was like confused. I didn't know what was going on. And so what happened was this abuse re-entered the scene. A couple days passed. And I was really on a low point because I was like, I don't understand. Like, that was scary. Like, what am I going to do? And I ended up at my brother's house. And up until this point, I did not like my brother. I didn't really want anything to do with him. Just weren't buddy with each other.
So when you said it paused, like the abuse, what did you move? Why did it pause?
So I think, or
do you not know? He just stopped doing it.
He would just kind of be on and off of like, I feel like he would have almost these moments of like, oh man, I better back off. Like that was wrong to do. He was very weird and unpredictable, but I feel like it was these moments of being, I don't want to say conscious, but
like clarity
of like, oh, this is wrong. We need to stop. And then it would stop, but then it would always come back again. Like, I feel like it was almost like a clarity moment, or maybe it was like a moment of like, oh, I've figured out this is like him being like, oh, I figured out this is wrong. We should stop. Almost as if it was my fault. And then it would pause, but then it would restart.
So this didn't, at 19, this wasn't a new pattern But it was sporadic.
Mm.
Like it would just kind of stop and then it would come back.
Yes. So it by the time I was 19, it would stop and start, and then.
Was it always the same amount of time, or was it just random?
No, it was random. So life was unpredictable.
Now, the abuse thing, was it like once a week, once a month, or was it kind of whenever?
It just kind of depended. Now, when I was younger, it would be pretty frequent. I mean, multiple times a week. I mean, like constant, and then it would pause, and then it would be once that month, pause. A couple times for that week, pause. I mean, you never knew. So it was a lot of weird.
So on top of everything else, it was just unpredictable.
Yes, there was no telling when this would happen, when he would, get off his being a stand-up guy kick, you never knew when it was going to happen. And then it happened. So how do I describe this? So the abuse was abuse. But I guess the way I would put it was never violent. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
I was 19 and it had been on a pause and it happened again and it was violent. And it scared the living daylights out of me because I was like, wow, I can't believe this just happened to me. Like, I don't understand. It was like a click in my mind of like, this is worse.
Like it actually scared you.
Like it put me in a dark spot where I was like, I literally am scared. Like there were tons of thoughts running through my head. I was like, oh my, like this has happened. Is he going to kill me? Is he going to kill himself? Like I had no idea what was going to happen. It rocked my world. And it's like you get so used to just accepting it as part of your life.
Yeah.
And then it happens that way. And you're like, wow. It was just like a realization of my whole life. Like this has been my whole life. And now I don't know what to do because it's violent. Like
yeah.
I can't believe, like, I don't know. Like I can't even word it now. The type of like realization of I'm not even safe in my house.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't safe, but I thought I was. And now I can't even try and pretend that I am.
Now that part that you felt safe is not.
It's not.
Yeah.
Like it's like I don't know what to do now with this information that's come to me. And for the next few days, like I said, like it was in a really dark spot and I tried to do things to make myself feel better. Like I was trying to pretend that everything was fine. But I remember we ended up in a restaurant with family a few days after it's happened. And he just mocked me the entire time. Like, she won't smile. She's not happy to be here. She must hate us all. Like, she doesn't want to be here now. I mean, like, on the edge of tears the entire time we were out eating because he just would not stop, like, picking and making fun of me.
And nobody said anything?
I think at this point, this was the first time that I think people were like, wait a minute, that's weird. Like, what is he doing? Like, I remember that dinner was very uncomfortable because the people we were with were actually like, what is, because this has never happened before.
Yeah.
But now he's so bold, I guess, that they're like, holy crap, like, lay off. Like, what is going on? And I feel like the lack of vocalizing it, like, was like, you know, when you're sitting there and something really unexpected happens, you're usually like, did that really happen? Like kind of a double take. And then you're like, do I make a scene? Do I say something? I don't know.
What was the shift in the, like, what was the reason for the change? That's what I'm not.
I don't know. To this day, I don't know. I know that, like, so I think when people do things like this, it's because they're bad people. Yeah. Or so the sin has twisted them and made them to be bad people.
Yeah.
I'm not the type of person to jump and be like, oh my gosh, that's demonic. Like, I think you're responsible for your actions, and doing this type of thing, like, you're being a bad person.
Yeah.
But in that time, I'm not sure what happened. I'm not saying it's demonic, but I'm saying that the switch was so weird and unexpected that I'm still kind of like, what was going on? Like, there was something off about him. Like, obviously all this time there's been something off.
Yeah.
But this is where I really realized it was violent.
Yeah.
He's mocking me. There's no, it's like cold. Like during this time, I can't tell you how long this was, but during this period of time, like we were in the car one day driving, and it's going to sound kind of silly, but he put on like, what is it called? He put on some sort of like instrumental music.
Yeah.
It was very heavy, and that, you know, at first that sounds silly, but like he was driving and listening to this, and he never listened to this, and then he started yelling out of nowhere and hitting the steering wheel. I mean, he was acting weird.
And
like,
this is
crazy.
around that time.
And this was all, if I remember correctly, it was all in this period of like after the abuse re-entered, and it was like worse than it's ever been. This is what came after, like in between when that happened and like when I told someone. So I mean, he's acting crazy. Like, I don't understand. Like, I remember riding in that car and literally being like, is he about to like yank the wheel? Like, is this it? Like, I still don't know to this day what that was. Like, it was just weird. So he was acting, everything's been random, but this was like, there's something wrong with him for real. Like, in his mind, something's wrong with him.
So what, I know you said the last time was violent, so what made you finally decide to say something to somebody?
So, like I said, I ended up at my brother's house finally, to talk to him, and I didn't want to be there and all this stuff. And I hadn't planned to tell him. I didn't plan on telling anyone still. I planned at that point to figure out how to leave my house and go no contact with everybody. So I planned to just disappear off the face of the earth and never talk to family ever again. That was my plan. But I went over to my brother's house. We were talking, and at one point he gets up to go to the restroom. Unbeknownst to me, he had gone in there to pray. And he prayed and he said, God, just help me to minister to my sister however I need to do that. And he came back out and everything spilled out. Like, I can't even explain why, because I had no plan to tell him. And it wasn't like I sat there and decided to. It was like the words just spewed out of my mouth and I couldn't stop them. And after years, finally, I've told someone, like, this has been happening. And I mean, I told him.
This may be a dumb question, but that's his dad too, right?
Yes.
Okay, I thought
yes,
so.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So we're all, yeah. But I told him that. And I mean, I really exploded his world, and then I went home.
What was his reaction? Like, he's just sitting there like...
He was, that was actually pretty accurate. like just like, oh. Like, he was trying to get details, but he was just mostly in shock. Yeah. I mean, but he was obviously concerned, but he was like, okay.
Had to process a little bit.
Yes. And he was like, he was very... Like, are you lying? You need to make sure you're not lying. Are you sure? Like, be sure you're telling me the details.
Deal.
But this makes sense because this is a huge deal. You've just blown, like, I walked in and blew up his life. And he's like, are you sure that that's true? And I was like, yes, I'm sure. My bad, but I'm sorry. And I felt bad because I did go home and, like,
you
just left him there. Like, I just went home. Like,
all right, see you later.
Bye, peace. Good talk.
Have a good night.
Thanks for letting me vent there on your couch a little bit while he's literally sitting there like, oh my God, like, what do I do? Like, literally. But I told him that, and I told him that on Friday. I want to say I told him on a Friday. It could have been a Saturday. I don't know. But I told him I went home, and I was like, man, I feel so much better. I had no idea why. Like, I didn't comprehend.
Yeah.
But I was like, I feel at peace. Now, the peace part was God, because, like I said, I dealt with anxiety bad for a very, very long time. And I had always been anxious about everything. And now I went home and I was like, I feel so much better. And I literally that night got on my like computer and I was like looking up like, where's an apartment at? Like, I was like ready to get my life together. Because in my mind, I didn't expect him to do anything. I thought I was going to tell him go home and everything would be the same as it always was. But something in it made me ready to go.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, Where's this apartment at? I'm going to go get 2 jobs. I'm going to leave. It's going to be great. I had no idea what was coming because I thought, no.
Like, I got it out and I'm free.
Yeah,
I could just walk away.
I'm good now.
Yeah.
And because no one had done anything, like, because no one knows, but I'm like, because no one's done anything, surely that's just nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, I told him, and now we're going to go about our lives, and that's going to be that. Like, that's fine. And I don't know, like, God does things so intricately. I have no idea what was going on. But I remember, literally, I'm looking up, like, apartments. I'm like, how much am I going to have to save? How many jobs am I going to have to go now? Like, what do I need to do? Like, I went from I'm content to live here the rest of my life to I've got to go. Like, I'm getting a job. I'm getting out of here. And I remember a cousin who I hadn't talked to in years texted out of the blue on Instagram and was like, hey, I just felt like asking you, like, where you been? How you doing? And I was like, well, I think I'm going to move out soon. Like, I'm really ready to go. And I mean, this flurries of messages of advice of like, here's how you get your first apartment. Here's what you need. Here's the money you need to save. Make sure you have this. Don't need to have that. That's unnecessary. Stash this. Do this. I mean, like, play by play.
Like, just like it was ready.
Just like that. Just shot out. And I was like, wow, this is it. I'm ready to go. This is again, I didn't think anyone was going to say anything, but I was like, you know what? God has made a way. I'm going to get out of here.
That's right.
Everything's great. Cool. Like, that's awesome. Dealt with. I'm better now. Like, any illness I had in my head's gone. Like, thank you. Like, and I hadn't prayed in a long time. And I was going to church, but I was like, I'm going to leave everybody. I'm not doing that and stuff. You know, that's just kind of what comes with the territory. But I remember praying and being like, God, can you just make a way? Like, I haven't prayed to you in forever, but can you just make this happen? Like, I just want to leave. And again, I was at peace. I think, you know, in a way, I think I freaked my dad out because I was so
like
nonchalant. Like, I was done. I was like, I'm ready to go. I'm getting out of here. He was like, what? I was like, well, who was that? Like, not really. But I remember, so I told my brother on a Friday or Saturday. Sunday, I was with my dad, and we went to, like, the gym. That was one thing we did. We'd go to the gym together. And we were at the gym. I was like, I think I want to move out. I think I want to get a job. I mean, completely switched up. I'm going to do this. You know, I'm going to do that. He's like, what about this? I'm like, I don't care. I'm leaving. Like, I'm going to get a job. I think this is what I want to do. And I really threw him for a loop. And I could tell because he was like, what? What's going on? What you mean? And I'm like, I want to do this. And that night, I think he ended up coming into my room. He was like, hey, I wanted to say I'm sorry. And I was like, about what? He was like, you know, about what happened. I felt like I was getting, like, signs or something. He was not. Like, very obviously not. And I was like, okay, cool. You done? Like, I feel like it really put him for a loop because I wasn't trying to be like, oh, it's okay. I was just like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to ignore you now. Like, I'm going to go about my day. Peace. I'm telling you, it was God-given supernatural peace. I would have never spoken to him like that. And in that moment, I just could not care. Like, I couldn't bring myself to be afraid of him. I was just like, fine, cool. Good night. I'm going to bed. Like, see you later. I don't know what to tell you. So, this all happened, right?
And he just left the room?
And he left. I mean, he didn't, what is he going to do? Like, I feel like he was confused. Like, he was so confused he had to leave. Like, he was like, I don't know what to do with this.
Hey, take it.
It's God.
Yeah.
But Monday, it was 3 or 4 days. It's just crazy. This is God. Like, it hypes me up because I'm like, this is crazy. But Monday, I wake up, normal day, and my brother comes over, okay? And he lives across the street, so that's no big feat. But he comes over, and he's like, hey, you know, we had that talk a couple days ago. Just wanted to check in, say hi. You left these snacks over here. I just wanted to bring them back for you. And I was like, oh, awesome. I thought that was all. Like, I really, truly was like, man, he's dressed weirdly nice for bringing over these snacks I left. I wonder why he's got, like, a polo on. I laugh a little. It's not funny, but to me it is, because I really was just like, he just got dressed up to bring me my snacks. That's weird of him.
Good brother.
He's a good brother. Like, dang, he's really looking out for me. He wants me to have my blackberries. I left. He really, wow, that's so
Thank
nice.
you.
So we sit down, and he hands me my blackberries, and I'm having a time of my
Drop
life.
it down on some blackberries.
I'm feeling at peace. I'm great. I'm like, I'm leaving. These blackberries are so good this morning. Nothing could take me down, right? Yeah. Well, he's like, hey, so you know that talk we had where you told me like about all this stuff? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, hey, we should probably report that. That's not the words he used, but he sat down. He sat with me and he was like, look, we really need to do something about this. He's like, I've asked a couple friends. If you don't tell somebody, I'm going to have to legally. So you need to come do this with me. And I remember at first it didn't like click in my head. But then he started crying. And that's when I like realized, oh, this is like real. Like that's when it really hit me in a different way, because I never had anybody, know what was going on.
Yeah.
So there's no sympathy because nobody knows what you're going through. But to have someone actually cry, like, really made me realize, oh, everything that happened is real and it's bad. And like, it hurt me.
It's not just a shrug your shoulders.
No,
it's all over.
It's not.
A thing.
It's not just I'm going to pack up and leave and like pretend this never happened. It's no, this is more than, this is like half your life. Like, we need to do something about it. So I literally went to my room and packed up like 2 bags of stuff. And I packed only the stuff that I had bought myself, because at this point in time, we had no idea how my mom was going to act. Like, I don't even know my mom at this point in my life, really. So I'm like, I don't want to take anything that she's bought me, because then she could come back and say, like, that's mine. And obviously, I know my mom now. My mom wouldn't do that. Yeah. But at the time, you're like, I literally don't know what I'll have with the time this is over. I could walk away with nothing but the clothes on my back. And I'm going to have to be okay with that, because
as far as you know, everybody could, on this side of it, everybody could have painted it up as being your fault.
Yes.
You're the bad person.
Yes.
And so that logically that makes sense.
Yes.
Like,
so
you don't know what's going to happen.
I have no idea. So I packed up like 2 or 3 backpacks with stuff that only I had bought, and I left my house. And I went to my brother's house, and like my sister-in-law was waiting for me. And like I said, it was just a big realization, because there were people there who were like there to help me and like believed me and believed that something was wrong. And I never told anybody, so it wasn't like I had had people disbelieve me. Yeah. But it was still like, oh, like I had told my dad, you could go to jail, and he just brushed it off. And now these people are like, oh my gosh, this has happened to you. I can't believe like what's gone on in your life. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it either. Like, it's like I just realized what went on in my life, and now everybody's crying and like, what are we going to do? And I don't know. Like, I don't know anything. I'm walking out of this house. Like, I'd gotten my license, but other than that, I know nothing. Like, I'm completely dependent on one person, and I'm walking out into this world not knowing what's going to happen. I don't know who's going to be in my corner when it's over, and I don't know where I'm going next, but I can't go home. So I went to my brother's, changed out my pajamas, and we got in the car, and we went to the police station. And again, even though I just, realized like everything in my life is like a lie and stuff, there was a peace. As I walked in, and we were like, we need to file a report.
Who was it that came over to the house that was crying and stuff? I know your brother did.
That was my brother.
And who else?
That was just my brother. When I walked across the street to his house, my sister-in-law was waiting for me. Oh, and she was like, let me give you a hug. Okay. So, but it had just been me and him.
At this point, nobody else knows anything.
It's literally me. The only people who knew at this time were me and my brother and his wife, and then a friend of my brother's who he had called in because he's like, I don't know what to do. Like, what am I supposed to do? And then like someone my brother had called who had been like, hey, oh my gosh, you need to like report that.
Some advice.
So like, but other than that, I mean, it's...
And your dad is at work this time?
My dad was at work.
Okay.
So I go to the police station. I kind of give the rundown, walk through all this. And by the time it's over, like in movies, it's all they got a reference.
Like in movies?
but like in movies, they walk in, they report it, and the cops are like, oh my gosh, we gotta go get this perp. And they like bust out and they got the badge, they got the gun, they're like ready to go. You see like it cuts to like the flashing light cars and everything's over and they're like, oh my God, thank you. No, that didn't happen. I walked in, I told them, and the police officer, God sent her, I believe. But at the time, I tell her everything and she's like, hey, do you think you can go back home? No. I was like, no, absolutely not. She's like, well, we can't take him in. There would have to be an investigation. An investigation takes a time, like a good amount of time. And so it was, she was like, can you go home and like act like everything is fine? And I'm like, lady, my whole life just like exploded. I don't think I can. But I mean, there wasn't much they could do.
Yeah.
But we walked out and my brother.
Movies are liars.
Movies are liars. They are.
They exaggerate everything.
They do. And then
everything's so dramatic.
Life and you're like, aren't you supposed to like bust out of here, like kick over a trash can or something?
Like if somebody goes missing in the movies, they like move heaven and earth. You go there like, hey, 48 hours, sorry. Like, sorry. Let's just see how this plays out.
I got some paperwork to do. It's like,
it's like, oh, okay. Well, thanks for the information.
Thanks for telling me that this could take me 2 weeks. Like, that's at least I have like a time span.
Could you come back later? We're on lunch right now.
Actually, like, I got like a game of Jingo back there. This way. No, not really.
I'm way ahead right now. I cannot break from this game.
I get all this. The police officer was an angel, but
Did you go home? Did you go back home?
No. So what happened was I walked out and my brother was the one who was ready to move heaven and hell, anything. He was like, we will find somewhere to go. Like, if we have to leave the state for a couple weeks, so be it. Like, you're not going home. We're not going to let that happen. We'll figure out what we're going to do. I don't care. And my brother has a wife and kids. Yeah. And he's like, I'll pack up everything. Yeah. Nothing matters. Like, we're going to go.
Street.
Yes. So they're not only are they like, let's go because they don't want to be around him, but they're like, we'll take you with us. Like, we'll go anywhere. We'll do whatever we got to do. Like, we'll settle this. This is fine. And so we get in the car and we're driving home. Well, at this point, we decide, hey, it would be good to let our mom know what's going on.
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess that makes sense.
Yes. So, maybe like, let's flip a coin. Yeah. No, but we get in the car. And my mom, who's been working in Shreveport, she worked out of state for a while. We call her up, and she had just gone home. Not home, sorry. She had just went back to work. So she would come on the weekends that she was off to spend time at home and then go back to work. And the weekend had just ended. It was Monday. So she had literally just gone back to Shreveport. So she had left that morning to go back home. And so I called her, or my brother and I called her, and we were like, hey, listen. Abby just walked into the police station and filed a report against Dad. We'd prefer you not talk to us until we're ready, but you should come home. Because that's what happened just now. Because we had no idea what she was going to say or do, so we were like, just respect our wishes, don't contact us right now. But here's what's happening, you should come home. And I remember she asked me a very specific question about the abuse. Mm-hmm. Basically, like, what is something that was done? Yeah. Like, just to make sure, it's just something you gotta, someone calls you and says, I just filed this. Yeah. Like, I told her and she was like, okay. And that was it. And I didn't know this was happening, but she like booked it home. Like, she was like, holy crap, this is real. I gotta go. Left work, started driving home. I just exploded another person's world. Yeah. I'm not gonna say oops, but oops. Like, so we go from the police station after this phone call back to my brother's house because they're packing up. We're going to leave. We're like, we're going to go find someone that the family doesn't know and stay with them. Yeah. Like, we're going to figure out what to do. We get there. We're packing. At this point, my grandparents, so my dad's parents show up. They're obviously like, what's going on? I don't understand. Your mom just called us. She was crying, having a hard time. Yeah. We don't get what's going on. We explain everything to them. We're sitting there. Now, my dad's at work. During this whole time, he's been texting my phone nonstop. Where are you? What are you doing? Why won't you answer me? What's going on? Where did you go? Did you go somewhere? Paranoid out the wazoo. We're standing there talking to my grandparents, and he calls my grandma. And she answers, And he goes, hey, are you with them right now? Do you know where Abby's at? You know, what's going on? No, everything's fine. I don't know what's going on. Just
Good job, Grandma.
Good job, Grandma. She answered, ended the phone call, and like,
did she say that she was with you though?
No. She was like, we're just going about our day.
Oh,
like, I don't know what's going on.
Sorry, gotcha.
So she deflected, and you know, shouldn't lie.
There's people lying.
Well, what up?
Just
come on, man.
She ain't gonna let these Baptist people get away with nothing.
Give her a pass, here. Come on. But, you know, shouldn't lie, but, you know, and I, you know, looking back, I'm like, dang, that must have been hard.
Yeah.
Like realistically, that's your kid, Colin.
Dude, Dad, you'd be like, yeah, no, I don't have a clue. See you later. My mom's like more attached, and they're like, well, hi, you're my baby. Yeah, like, yeah.
Like, what are you supposed to do?
I don't know.
And so it's like, man, that must have been really hard. And no, at the time, you know, I didn't have that bandwidth of like sympathy, but now looking back, I'm like, dang, that must have been terrible. Like, truly, have to answer a call. And not only is it like your son, but then you're lying. And, you know, that's hard.
Yeah.
Like, that's hard. And, you know, I'm forever thankful that she was willing to do that. Like, even though she didn't know what to believe, her whole world had just crumbled. Her granddaughter's standing here telling her something that she doesn't know is true or not. Like, how are you supposed to wrap your head around that? You know, everything just happened in the morning on a Monday. Like, crazy. But she did it. And only God. Like, I don't know how else to describe it. But we had that interaction. My grandparents leave. We're packing up to go. So my dad's at work. Unbeknownst.
When your grandparents leave, like when they're leaving, what do they say?
I mean, who?
Okay, I'll talk to you later.
Like, basically, like, just let us know that you're safe. Okay. Like, I mean, they're in shock. Like, I mean, they don't know what to do. We don't know what to do. My brother didn't tell them where we were going. Because it was like, you won't have to lie because we're not going to tell you.
Gotcha.
Just know that we'll be fine. Like, we're going to go somewhere else. So my grandparents are walking away, probably being like, dang, they don't even trust us enough to tell us. When really it's more of like, we literally don't know what's going to happen. Like, we don't know what to do either. Like, everybody's freaking out. So especially us. Like, we don't know what to do here. And so we're just going by the seat of our pants. Like, we're just... There is no game plan for a situation like this. There's no way to game plan.
Except get out.
Except leave.
Yeah.
So they leave. They go home. And so we're about to leave and go. And my dad drives down our road.
As you're leaving.
As we're walking out the door, his car, at the time it was a bright red car, speeds down the road to our house. Which again is right across the street. And only by God's grace did he not see us. He somehow completely missed us walking out of the house and didn't see us and drove past us.
Was it at the end of a work day, or why did he come?
No, he left work because I wouldn't answer my phone.
Wow.
So I don't know what happened. I don't know if like paranoia got to him and he was like, what? She won't answer. What is that? Because it was out of the norm that I wouldn't answer him.
Yeah.
So... He speeds down the road in his bright red car and somehow doesn't see us and drives straight home. But I saw it and I look at my sister-in-law and I go, that was definitely my dad's car. And she goes, we're leaving now. So we get in the car and we start going the opposite way. And she's like, I don't even know how to get to where we're going this way, but we got to leave. Like, we'll figure it out, but we got to go now. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, only God could make it to where he did not see us walking out of the house because my dad had no idea where we were. We were in the front yard, but he just drove right past, unsafely speeding down the road because I wouldn't answer my phone. That's all I did, is not answer his phone because no one told him.
Did he try to, after he got home, did he try to still reach out? Or
he was texting me for a pretty long time. So I was riding with my sister-in-law, and then my brother was riding with his friend, and we met up at like a gas station, like a couple miles down the road, because we're like, we want to make sure, like, you know, again, we don't know what's going on, like this, we don't even know our dad, so we're like, is he following us? Is he a mastermind? We don't know where he's at. We don't know where we're going. We don't know if he's a genius.
Trackers on our phones and our cars.
We don't know.
Yeah.
So we pulled over, and that's when I turned my phone off. Because that was a genuine concern, is like, is he going to be able to track the phone? Like, we don't know. If it's off, he can't. So now, all this time, this phone has been my crutch. Because I'm anxious, I don't know where else to go. So all of the people that I might have talked to, or all the things I might have looked at to calm me down, my phone is off.
Yeah.
I have nothing. So I'm kind of just sitting there on and off crying because I'm like, I don't have a distraction. I can't really go anywhere in my mind. Like, I'm just here for the ride for however long it takes. Because again, this investigation could last a while. It's not even started yet. And we don't know where we're going or what we'll do. So, but even so, I managed to just be there. I think obviously part of it is God, but I think part of it is also like there was nothing I could really do. Like, it's not like I could magically be like, oh, the investigation starts now and I know where they'll find him. Like, it's like it's completely out of your control.
And did they get information from you to keep you updated, or they just said, we'll get a hold of you when we find something out? Like, what did that even look like?
So they took down like my info, like my phone number and stuff, but they really were just like, we'll let you know when we know.
So, I mean, I guess that's the process.
It's just the legal process, but it's very unfortunate because then you're kind of, again, you're stuck being like, I have to upend my whole life.
First sirens are going to start going off, and they're going to all leave and go grab them and bring him back because of the movies.
But it's not real life.
No.
And like, obviously, I think they were going to help, but I mean,
you run up to the
process,
and you're like, wait. I was expecting more.
Yes.
You want me to go back home?
Literally, I was expecting more. Like, I expected them to be like, oh my gosh, that's crazy, let's go. And instead, it's like, can you like act normal? And it's like, do I look normal?
For how long?
Like, yes, and you don't know. Because there's so many things that could happen because I say one thing, well, what if he comes back? No, I didn't. There's no evidence.
I don't even know. Like, how would you investigate that besides the person saying that it happened?
Exactly. So they're like, they're going to have to gear up for an investigation without any real evidence. Like, there's nothing.
So after the gas station, when you all met up, kind of collected yourself, turn your phones off just in case.
I don't know.
What did you do after that? Did you wait for a minute, or did you go?
We immediately left. So we like turned my phone off. I had like a pep talk with my brother, and he was like, everything's okay. Everything's going to be okay. And I was like, okay. And we left the gas station, and we went to go to the house of someone that he knew, that not even I know. So it's not like the movies, but it's almost like the movies.
It's a safe house.
Yeah, it's a safe house. Like, I'm like, it's not like the movies, but it is.
Yeah.
But it's not. But we turn up, and these people don't even know me. But I walk in, I'm tear stained. I'm like disheveled. I don't know anything. I'm anxious. I don't know how to talk to. I literally have no people skills at all. They're like, do you want water? I'm like, what? Like, I don't even know what's going on.
What is water?
What is a cup? I forgot. Like, I don't know. But I remember I got there, and I mean, we're sitting there for hours, don't know anything. Again, my phone's turned off, so it's not like people can reach me. Obviously my brother's upset. It's his dad. Like, what do? You're on the run. You don't know what's going on. And then in this whole time, there's also radio silence from my dad. So we don't know if
And you told your mom not to contact you, right?
And we told my mom, like, don't call us for a while because we don't know what to do with you or you with us. And I don't know.
Is it because y'all didn't know if she knew anything? Or
we didn't know what she was going to react, how she was going to react or say. We also didn't know if she knew anything. We didn't know anything about her. Or maybe my brother did. But for me, like, during the abuse...
She's a stranger.
She's a stranger.
She was always...
I thought she hated me. I thought she was mad at me. I thought she didn't like me. And at the same time, she thought the same about me. So we have had walls.
Well, you were also getting fed that information.
Yes, exactly. And she was getting fed that information too. So now, not only do you not know each other, but you thought you hated each other. And now it's like, no, wait, we don't. But you still don't know each other. Like, there's no fixing that at that time. So
and other things to worry about.
Yeah, that's much bigger problems right now. Especially because it's radio silent. Is my dad gonna end his life? Is he gonna follow through all the threats? That's what he told me.
Yeah.
So we're all standing around like, oh my gosh, is he gonna do something bad?
He's at the house by himself.
He's at the house by himself, and we owned guns. We live in Texas, so of course we did. But
Everybody's guns.
everybody's got, you know.
I got 3 behind me. Just kidding. Not really.
Whoa, that's cool.
It's actually like Desperado in that guitar case. I got that's some rocket launcher. But
That's the best.
so how long did y'all stay at that friend's house?
So, again, another work of God. We're there for hours. I somehow fell asleep. I have no idea how. I call it my God-given nap because literally no way to distract myself. No way. I fell asleep until 5 p.m. Do you want to know what happened at 5 p.m.?
What?
My dad turned himself in. And because he turned himself in and confessed there was no investigation, he was now
Guilty.
in prison and guilty.
Well, I mean, yeah, you confess you're guilty.
You're guilty. So I went to this person's house.
So all same day.
All in the same day. All on
You didn't have to like go on the lam and like
No.
wait for a few months.
It was on a Monday.
Wow.
And I remember the time because I woke up and I looked at the clock. I was like, man, it's 5 o'clock. How have I been asleep that long? I walk outside and my brother's like, he just turned himself in.
Wow.
One day. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
Like, I can't even, I still don't know how to wrap my head around it. That it all happened just in one day. And like, looking back, it's so fast.
So have you talked to him since?
My
at
dad?
all? Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No, he,
Because my question is, unless somebody came to the house to investigate, how did he know that all of this was because of what he had done to turn himself in?
so as far as I know, no one told him anything. All I can think of is like either he had a moment with like God was like, look, this is it. Or he was literally so paranoid of his own secret that the only thing he could piece together of all of his family just not talking to him all at once was she's told someone and they know. But other than that, I have no earthly clue how he like came to that conclusion and then came to the point where he turned himself in.
It would have been even better if none of that was actually the reason and he just turned himself in. That'd have been awesome.
That would have been awesome.
That would have been awesome.
That would have been awesome.
Nobody had to go through any trauma. Like you're like, what, 14 years old, and he just feels guilty and turns himself in.
That would have been pretty good. But
So
yeah.
you're on, that was 2 years ago,
Yes.
right? 19, 20, 21. I can do math.
See, you can laugh at me, and then you're gonna sit there and count on your fingers.
Everybody has a weakness, all right?
All right.
And so it's been 2 years.
Hmm.
I don't know the details of what you went for, but so he's in prison now.
Mm.
Has he gone to trial?
So, we didn't do a trial because he pled guilty. So he went and confessed,
Okay.
and then we went to like a court sentencing hearing or whatever. I don't know.
Is that what you went to?
I did go to that.
Okay.
Yes. And he, they're basically like, this is what you said. This is the charges. This is, what's going on. Do you want to plea? Like, here's your plea bargain, or you can go for the trial. And he pled guilty.
Yeah.
So I did end up going to that. Yeah.
And didn't they ask you to say some words?
They said I could, and I did, and I didn't bring it because I didn't think about it. But
Now, can you give a kind of
a summary?
Yeah.
So I will say it's not funny, but it was a little bit because
better to find humor in it than be
true.
tore up.
I went and the guy basically was like, look, we heard you want to give like, a victim statement. That's what it's called. He's like, just make sure that you don't use like super strong words up there, like get too explicit. Like it is recorded for future, purposes. So try not to get too angry, but we understand like, you got a lot going on. And I was like, okay. I walked up there.
And at the time you've done this, you've already reestablished yourself back in church, correct?
Yes. So by the time that this happened, I was back in church. And
how long ago was this that you had to go? Was it last year? We're in almost June.
I think it was last year.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was last year. So they're like, don't get too crazy up there, but also we understand stuff. And I was kind of like, okay. I walk up there, and I think they had expected like multiple pages of like, I can't believe I hate you, insert bad word and stuff
now, is
like
he
that.
in there when you're doing this?
He is.
Oh.
Now.
So you
So we
You
had
have to
looked at
see
each
him
other.
face to face.
Yes. So while I was sitting there, he was the last case that they like were like plea or not. Because when you sit in like one of these hearings, you have multiple that they go through.
Yeah.
So we looked at each other. And I mean, for me, it was instant tears. And he cried too. But there's no talking. You know, obviously you're not talking to each other.
Yeah.
And when I went up to give my statement, they were like, they told him he couldn't even react. So he couldn't even look at me because he wasn't allowed to make a face. He wasn't allowed to nod. He wasn't allowed to do anything. He just had to sit there and listen. So I walked up there and I guess in summary, it was basically like, look, you know, everything happened on this Monday. I thought my life was over. I thought everything was ruined. I really didn't like you. Like I didn't know what to make of anything. But I've reconnected with the Lord, and all I want to say is I forgive you, and I hope that you will use the rest of your life to follow God and do what you need to do in there, because God loves you, and I still love you, but you've done this thing, and I just hope that you can find God in all of it, because that's what you need to do. And that was basically what I said.
That's pretty intense.
Yeah. It was a lot.
Were you crying the whole time through it, or you were able to make it through that?
I cried a lot just sitting in there and looking at him. And by the time I gave the statement, I started out pretty watery, but by the end, I was pretty, like, sure of what I was saying. Like, I was like, I forgive you. I love you. This really sucks that you've done this, but you need to find God. Like, you need to ask him for forgiveness. This is what you need to do.
I don't know if I could do it. I would want to hope that I could, but it's
only God, because it was a struggle. I still struggle sometimes. Like, forgiveness is definitely a process. And it's not like I just wake up some days and I'm like, I don't forgive him anymore. But there's ebbs and flows to this kind of thing, especially after everything, when you kind of start to realize, like, everything that happened and what that means and all that stuff.
So on the aftermath of all that, what does the family system look like now?
So
I know for a fact you know your mom very well now.
I do. I love my mom. I love her. I've always loved her.
She's actually, so we're in my office, but she's actually in the living room talking to my wife as we're doing all this. So.
My mommy brought me here. So
they're always together.
Yes, I will always be there to brighten her day.
Yeah, that's what I will say.
So right now, I'm still living with my mom, but we're so awesomely together all the time. So it's me and her, and then my sisters. So we all live together, and then my brother still lives across the street.
You have adopted sisters, right?
Yes, they are.
Are they blood sisters, or are they independently adopted?
They're not blood. No.
They're not blood. Okay.
They're like... Family trees are so weird. My mom knows someone who knows that someone who she might be related to, and they're like from the other side of that family. So I do with that what you will. But they are they're my sisters.
Short answer, nobody really knows.
Nobody knows. They just showed up and we were like, sounds good enough.
Yeah, we'll keep them. We'll feed them a little bit. Why
not?
They're sweet little girls.
Yes, they're so
they
great.
Made me put everything up. Did you see they made me something?
No.
One of them did. I can't remember their names. Who's who?
Was it the blonde one or the dark-haired one?
I don't know who made it. They were both there when they handed it to me, but it had my name on it. It was like a little drawing or whatever. They were like, here we go. Cute. It's in it's got to be in that closet. I threw everything in there.
That's awesome.
So nothing would be in the background. Where I would look like a
show it in the closet. Yeah. That's classic. But it's us. My brother still lives across the street. With his wife and his kids.
And you work with your brother now, right?
I work in the same room as him, yes. So I guess you could say I work with him sometimes. But yeah, we work in his office. So I'll go over there every day to do my job and then come back home.
In her pajamas?
No.
Oh, you don't?
Okay, sometimes.
I thought you said you did because you're like, I just go across the street.
Sometimes, but not all the time. Like, I try sometimes.
She wears normal clothes when she goes and delivers blueberries
person.
Or blackberry.
Blackberry. Hey. But yes. So it's like me, and then my brother's across the street, and then my grandparents live right beside us.
Your dad's?
Yes, my dad's parents live right beside us.
Now, were they living there the whole time?
Yes.
The same spot? Okay, so
yes. They just stayed.
That's not new. They've been...
No, they've been there. So, but yeah, that's the current setup, and we go to...
Now, how's the relationship with you and them now?
It's good.
Did they kind of...
There's a bit of distance.
Yeah.
Though I don't know what side it's coming from.
Yeah.
It's just kind of difficult to get through that. And so, but I still love them. Yeah. They still love me. We still talk. Like, it's just not like it was before, but nothing is.
And it probably didn't have anything to do with you, but it has probably a lot to do with the shame. Like their kid did. Like if we go somewhere and Tristan does something stupid and I walk in that area where he did something dumb, I don't really talk to a whole lot of people because I'm like, I'm embarrassed. You know what I mean? Like if he did something stupid in the neighborhood. Like one summer, this was like 2 or 3 summers ago, he took his little Orby gun, or no, it was an airsoft gun, and he shot a teenage girl that lives in the neighborhood, her car, as they passed by, because he thought he was being funny for his friends. He's like, oh, he won't do anything. Well, then we had to go that night and apologize to every person that was involved. And so now if I walk by the houses or drive by the houses, I kind of hold my head down.
It's a little bit funny.
So, I mean, I can understand that your kid does something, you're like, dang. Or especially, and maybe a little guilt because they didn't see it.
Yeah.
You would think and hope that you would be able to see your kids, but usually that's kind of where we're the most blind.
Yeah.
But it is awesome that after all of this, you and your mom have been closer than ever. It's like the years you lost, you got back. Yes,
it definitely was. At the start, it was very interesting. Like, it was like, I don't know how to talk to you, and she didn't know how to talk to me. Like, we really were strangers. Like, we didn't know. And I lived a couple months with my brother.
What was her reaction after everything happened? Like, how did y'all mend that? Like, did she stop going to Shreveport?
Yes. So the Monday when she came back, she was basically, she told her people, and she's got more detailed than I do, but from my understanding, she was like, look, I can't go back there. I got a family here. I got to pick up the pieces. Here's what happened, basically, TLDR, this happened.
Yeah.
I can't go back. Can you just give me a job here? Whatever you can do. And God provided, and she got the same job that she had in Shreveport, just in like 30-ish minutes away. So she's closer now, so she can be home. So we didn't talk to her Monday. It was that week though. Tuesday, Wednesday. It wasn't that long. Our no contact rule wasn't very long.
Yeah.
So when I first saw her again, she was just still processing. It's a lot to go through.
Sure,
a lot. I don't know if you'll ever stop fully processing, if you do, it's going to take a while.
Yeah.
But I think she was just like, wow. Wow. That's all I know. She was very, she wasn't antagonistic or anything like that. Like she's like, yeah, you answered my question. I knew you weren't bluffing. There was no disbelief. There was no moments of like, well, you were lying. Like none of that. I was very blessed because my mom was like, wow, that happened. We went back to her house. It's her house now. But we went over there, we talked it out. There were a couple other of her friends there trying to, give support, obviously, which is great. And I kind of just told them, I filled my mom in on the details and I filled them in too. I was just kind of like, you're here too. So I guess you get to hear about it. Here's everything that happened.
Yeah.
And after that, again, my mom was like, oh my gosh, there was never, she never vocally was like, I don't believe you, or I can't believe you did that, or anything. She was supportive. Now it was tough learning how to navigate with her home because she had been out of the house for so long that now it's like not only are you adjusting to a new person in the house, a quote unquote new person in the house, but you're also this is my mom. And how do I talk to my mom? Yeah. I don't even know my mom. I don't know what she's okay with. I don't know what she's not okay with. All of these, all of the routines that have been built up for the past years of my life are now void. So I don't even know what to do with my hands. I don't know what to, I don't know what to do now. I don't know what to say. But God really carried us through. For a couple months, I lived with my brother.
Yeah.
So I was going to his church, and then she started coming to Connect. And then, of course, she was like, hey, maybe one day you want to go to my church, and that'll be cool. And I was like, yeah, sure. And then I went. I was like, wow, these people are crazy. Gotta leave. Gotta go. I came back, and now I'm here. So I guess I'm part of the...
She'll never escape the cult.
I'll never leave. But it's been a journey.
And now you lead a group.
I do, which is so crazy. That's really crazy. That's actually... Because back then, like 2 years ago, but before, everything went down, even sometime after, I was like, I don't want to be a part of ministry ever again.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to do that. Because like I said, I was in like children's church, at the Baptist church for a while. I sang a lot.
Which she does now too on the worship team.
I do.
She's the star player.
Stop. No. No, everyone plays a part, okay? We're team. But I was like, I'm never going to sing again. I'm never going to do ministry again. I don't want any part. Like, I was going to church, but I didn't want to be any, like a part of the church. Like, I didn't want to do that. Like, it took me a bit to still come back to God after everything happened. So I was going because my brother was like, if you move in, you got to go to church.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And it wasn't like I was dragging my feet. Like, I liked talking to people, and it was like, oh my gosh, I actually get to be around people. I still was lacking people skills.
Yeah.
The anxiety was still there. Although it was way uplifted, but I still struggle with some of that. But then I came to Connect. First I was like, these people are crazy. I don't know what's going on. I came back. I started going regularly.
We don't do nothing that crazy though.
But like, if you come from a church, okay, listen.
Yeah, explain
yourself. Don't get offended. But if you come from a church where everyone just sits in the pews, and then you come to another one and people fall on the floor, you're falling out in the spirit. Dude, I thought people were in trouble.
Yeah.
I looked at my mom. I was like, they think they have this spirit and they're having a medical issue. What do we do? And she was like, it's fine.
Oh, 911. Someone help these people.
Okay, like, it's just, don't get offended, but that's just what happens. It's just jarring. And now I'm like, guys, they're fine. Don't worry. I'm the person telling people, don't worry about it. Like, they're all right. They're all right. So, but.
She also, I'm going to brag on you a little bit.
Oh my gosh.
She also was the one who was like, Lord, that speaking in tongues stuff, okay, it's in the Bible. but that ain't for me.
I was.
Tell that story. It's a pretty cool story. Because like a lot of people get caught up in like, okay, I have to be in church. I have to do this certain thing. I have to do that. And I think that robs us from the authenticity of the experience of being filled with the Holy Spirit. We overthink and have too much knowledge. Yeah. Like in Acts, they didn't know what to expect.
No, they had no idea.
They were just expecting.
Yes.
And being obedient.
Yes.
So tell your little story.
Okay. So I was like, tongues ain't for me. I was like, I don't do none of that. Okay. I have a bit of a control problem. And I was like, having the Lord take over what I'm saying. Not my thing. I'm good on that. Don't need that. Okay. So of course, never say never with the Lord, because he has a great sense of humor. And I had, when I started coming to Connect and really like started to know the Lord, like I started really knowing him and like actually having a relationship, because there's definitely a difference between knowing about the Lord and actually knowing and like following the Lord. And, I had a lot of intense prayer times, feeling the spirit and stuff, all of that good junk. And there were a couple times leading up to when I actually did that I felt like I was shaking. Like I was like, oh my gosh, like I was
her own. Nobody's tricked her and say you got to do this to feel the spirit. It was
when this I'm getting tongue tied right now. When this happened, I was usually alone in my room and I was praying hard about something, like to fill in the blank. It didn't matter what it was. I was just praying super hard. I was feeling the spirit. I was alone. Usually the house was empty. Like there was no one. It was just me and the Lord, and I was praying. and I would feel like my tongue was going numb, and I'd get scared and I'd stop. Like, I was really like, no, this can't be me. Like, no,
This ain't
no,
right.
this ain't right. So I ended up at a little prayer meeting at my aunt's house, my aunt and uncle's house. And we were all kind of talking, we're singing songs. It was very chill, but I got the urge to pray for someone out of the blue. And I was like, okay, that's fine. I'll go do that. Okay. So I went in the bathroom and started praying. Bad place to pray. People will not leave you alone because it's a bathroom. So don't do that.
People looked in there.
So I left the bathroom. I was like, I give up. And then I was like, no, wait, I need to pray. Like, I feel it. I got to go. So in some houses, you have like a living room and then you have a den.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone was in like the living room. I was in the den alone. Again, no one's in there. No one even knows I'm in there. Like, sometimes I think the Lord like blinds people because they had no idea I was even gone, like in the den by myself.
Like he blinded your dad, apparently.
Exactly. So I'm in the den, I'm praying, and I'm praying hard. Like, this is one time where like that prayer was on another level. Like, I was going to town praying. It was crazy. Okay. And I just started praying, Lord, I want to pray in a way that pleases you. What do you think happened? Okay, I started speaking a different language, and I was freaked out. I was like, wow, I didn't know you were going to, like, do that. Like, I prayed that, but I didn't know you were, like, going to take me seriously and do that. And so I started speaking in tongues, and I was like, whoa. Like, I started, like, sweating. Like, I was like, oh, my God. Like, what is happening? And I would try and speak in English, and I couldn't. And I was like, this is it. This is my life. Like, I'll never push again.
I'm going to have to move to whatever country this is from.
I just kept praying because I was like, I don't know what to do now. Like, I'm stuck. Like, I'm just stuck here forever. And I was freaked out, but I did remember being like, oh my gosh, this does sound like a language. Like, oh my, it's kind of cool. Like, I don't know what language it is, but it's got the structure. Like, I was, all these things, but I kept praying. And I prayed like that for like 2 hours. I didn't even know that it was 2 hours, but I was praying for like 2 hours, if not more, straight, just speaking in tongues. I'd never done it before. I'm freaked out, but also like, holy crap, like, this is kind of cool. Like, I'll take it. Like, I don't know what to do with this now. And I just kept doing it until like it went off by itself. Like, I guess I had to said all I needed to say. I was like, I can speak in English again. That's cool. It's good to know that I can still do that. And now I speak in tongues, again, usually by myself. Like, I am very much like, I keep it private.
Me too.
I've never like felt the need to give like a word or anything. Like, that's to me, that's in a totally different ballpark, and I'm not in it. I'm not going to say never. I'm not going to say I never will.
Watch out now.
Lord, I didn't say that. I just said I haven't. Okay. But it really doesn't require you to do a ton of stuff. Like, you just need to be open, I guess, to God. And it's also like, I want to stress, like, again, I'm not from the Pentecostal circle, but from what I hear, it's like a big emphasis on like, you've got to speak in tongues. Like, that is like your golden ticket. Yeah. You don't. I was saved without speaking in tongues, and now I do speak in tongues, but you don't.
Now she's super saved.
No, I am the ultimate saved above everyone else. Not really. That was a joke. Yeah. But you don't have to do that to be saved. Yeah. And you don't have to do it to follow God. And so I think a lot of people get stressed out sometimes of like, I haven't spoken in tongues, but you spoke in tongues. How did you do it? It's like, calm down. It's okay. Speaking in tongues, I understand why some people want it. I also definitely understand why people are freaked out, because I've been both. Yeah. So, you just gotta, God's gonna give you the gifts and the talents and the things that you need for your purpose. Yeah. And it's not wrong to like want to do things, but you don't have to stress about it. Because you don't speak in tongues doesn't mean you're any less saved. It doesn't mean that God's mad at you. It doesn't mean that you don't have something that everybody has and, all that stuff. Is just, if it happens, I would think, based off of my experience, you probably just need to have a you and God moment and just let God work however God wants to work. Because he will move. He will move when you just give up control.
Time and time again, that seems to be the common factor across the board, is like people that will finally give up that control and just want more of God. And then out of wanting more of God, comes deeper things of God.
Yes.
And it's not, you don't seek after. I think this is where we get confused and why we don't see maybe people be filled like there used to be kind of a big wave, is because people, they get caught up on seeking after what they can have instead of who they can have. And there's a big difference.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to share that.
No.
So now, as we wrap up, is there anything else you wanted to add? I think we kind of came up to current, right?
I feel like we got everything. Yeah, I think we get whatever, yeah.
So kind of as a sign off, I want you to look into your camera over there, okay?
Okay.
Now, what I want you to think of is like, I want you to talk to the people for a second.
Okay.
And I want you to ease their mind and encourage them to say something like you didn't have the courage to at one time.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Wow. Words. Okay. It will, if you're facing something like I did, or something completely different, it's going to be scary, and it's not going to be easy, and there's going to be a lot to struggle through. And I don't want to lie and paint it up as something it's not fun. It's not glamorous. Not everybody's story is the same. God put me on a path that had a lot of blessings, and there's also been a lot of loss and struggle. And your path will probably not be like mine exactly. But God's got a plan, and even when it's hard to trust and believe in it, just hold on. Even if there's doubt, that doesn't make your belief any less, you know? And speaking out's hard, but I promise you what lies on the other side will be better than staying in abuse or struggle or grief or anxiety. It's okay to seek out help, because God put people on this earth to help us, and God wants to help you. So, if you're facing something, struggling through something, please find someone trustworthy that you can seek out for help. Because, like I said, the other side is way better than where you are now, even if now feels familiar. That's what I got.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming and sharing today. I want to encourage you though. Like she said, that pivot point of you telling somebody, or maybe you feel like you can't, you feel like you're trapped, or you feel like you'll betray the trust of someone who has manipulated you or conditioned you to make it feel like it's your fault. It's not your fault. Tell somebody. I don't care if you got to walk into a police station and just say, this is what happened. This is not your fault. God didn't design you to take this kind of punishment. You need to be brave, have courage, and God will orchestrate, like you heard her story, in one day. I'm not saying it'll happen like that for you, but God can do it. And you don't feel like you're trapped. There's always a way out. God will provide a way out. Thank you so much for joining another episode of Faith and Failures. Thank you, Abby, for coming in and sharing your testimony and your story. You can like, subscribe, share this video with somebody that maybe it will mean something to them, and maybe encourage them that there is a way out of maybe the relationship they're in, whatever that looks like. And we will see you next time.
Faith and Failures Podcast.